Hey, good morning. So in math this morning, we are going on to one of my favorite units that we teach in grade 4, and it is on probability. And the probability is basically it's the chances that something is going to happen. So in this particular case, I have a spinner. I'm assuming that the computer is random. So if I click on the spinner and it spins, the likelihood of getting a green is the same as the likelihood of spinning a red, is the same as the chances of spinning a blue or this pinky purple color. So if I click on it 4 times, I should get 4 different colors, really. Was red. Well, I got red again. Well, so much for that theory. Well, I got purple. I got blue. And there's my green. So out of 5 spins, I got 4, but then two red out of 5 spins. So the chances I would expect for each color to be about the same when it comes to the number of times my spinner landed on a specific color. So we use probability all the time. You probably don't realize it necessarily, but we read about it in the newspapers or on TV, even in video games, they use probability. Probability is sort of like it's chance, it's sort of luck, but in a way, probability is based on scientific things. So, for example, in the real world, we have to research the probability or likelihood of certain things, and then we use probability to make predictions about what is actually going to happen. So here's just a few examples of where you might see probability in real life. So for example, the weather forecast, the probability, POP, you see that sometimes in weather stations. That stands for probability of precipitation, and precipitation is a fancy word for rain and snow. So here it says 70% on this Tuesday, the 30th. Here it says 40% chance of rain. So you could see that the probability in this case is a scientific information. They've actually researched, I'm not guessing on these numbers, but in a way, they're only going to be 40% accurate on this day. Lightning strikes, right? What is the probability of a lightning strike? Well, it's pretty rare, right, to get a lightning strike. The probability in a deck of cards, what are the probability of getting a certain bunch of cards? Baseball, right? Any stats in baseball, batting average, right? If a person is batting 300 in baseball, that means he's got a 30% chance of getting a hit. I don't know why they say 300, it's really 30%. Even in hockey, save percentage for a goalie, right, is, if his save percentage is 0.900, that's a 90% chance of making a save. A lottery ticket, I had one the other day and I did not win a thing. So lottery ticket is another example of probability. So these are just all sorts of examples that you can use that we see in everyday life. So let's take a look then at a quick experiment. So we're going to play a dice game. Let's pretend half the class is blue and half the class is green. I want you to think whether or not this is a fair game. Winning team gets the most red chips here. Blue team gets a chip if the sum of the 2 dice is either 5, 6, 7, or 8. And green gets a chip if the sum is anything but these. So I have to think, is this a fair game? And which team has the advantage if it's a fair game? So let's roll the dice. 9. So green gets a chip. 7. Blue gets a chip. 5. Blue gets a chip. 5. Blue gets a chip. 7. Oh, blue is doing well here. There's one for green. There's one for green. Oh, it's a close race. Oh, 8. One for blue. 8. Another one for blue. And 6, another one for blue. So even though in this particular game it might seem like green has got the advantage because there are 12 possible, 11 possible combinations. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you can't get anything, you can't get a 1 when you're rolling 2 dice. So there's 11 possible combinations. And blue's only got 4 out of the 11. So you would think that blue would have a lesser chance of winning than green. However, there are more combinations that make up 5, 6, 7, and 8 when you look at the possibilities. For example, for a 7, I can get a 1 and a 6, a 2 and a 5, a 3 and a 4, a 4 and a 3, a 5 and a 2, and a 6 and a 1. So that's a whole bunch of possible rolls that would give me 7. Whereas over here, if I'm getting a 3, for example, I have to get a 1 and a 2 or a 2 and a 1. There's only 2 possibilities. A 9, I can only get a 4 and a 5, or a 3 and a 6, or a 6 and a 3 and a 5 and a 4. So when you look at that, it actually is better. The likelihood is greater for blue to win in this case. So in this particular example, blue won 7-3. So that's just a quick introduction to probability. In this particular unit, we're going to look at possibilities, things that are likely. What is the likelihood of something to happen? And we'll take a look at some things, ways of predicting, using probability to predict as we go on through the unit. And this Friday, make sure you come to our video conference, because we're going to play a fun horse race game, which is actually related to probability, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day.